Today to talk about the thing that the sellers don't want to talk about, which is a price drop. Hey guys, welcome to The Buzz, Coffee and Real Estate. We're just jumping in today to talk about the thing that the sellers don't want to talk about, which is a price drop. Do I need to drop the price of my house? And if so, when, how much, how should I know? What do I do about it? How do I communicate it to people? All the ins and outs of it. So really, I think the first thing on the price drop is, how do you know if you're not getting what you want and you need to make a price drop? Like what are the indicators?
Yeah, so I mean, first things first is it still on the market? If it's been 2 weeks and you're not getting traffic, people aren't coming to see the house, things aren't moving along as they normally should. And when I say that, I'm not saying like you've got 50 people lined up for the house, but if you're getting, you go a week and you have one showing, that's a good indicator that, hey, you're overpriced.
Yeah.
If you're getting to the place where you've got, 4 or 5 showings, you might be able to prolong it out a little bit longer because you still have steady traffic. And it could be that you got a weird floor plan or you got something unusual or whatever, and it's not necessarily priced. So those things you can kind of, protocol that. But the other side of that is showing time sending us feedback. So we're getting feedback from each agent that shows the house. They're telling us, my client's interested, not interested. I think the price is good. My experience was good. These are the things that, give you a comment. They didn't like floor plan, whatever.
Yeah.
So that we get that. But if you're for sale by owner, you're going to have to go in, text that agent. Hey, can you give me some feedback? What did your buyer think? What do you think about pricing? All of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no, and you can search on Zillow. You can see how many views, how many likes it's had. So if those numbers are realistic to the rest of the market, similar homes, okay, it's not a problem with people seeing the house.
Yeah.
It's not a problem with people liking the pictures on the house. The problem is the price.
That's right.
So there's only 2 problems: price or marketing. Nobody has seen it, or the price is too high. So if we handled this side, then we can, through process of elimination, be able to say, okay, the market is telling us that it's a little bit too high.
Yeah.
And really your price drop strategies are kind of twofold. You can have, I've heard some agents that really recommend doing small price drops regularly. Hey, every week I'm going to do a little price drop, and little is relevant. Obviously, if we're talking a $700,000 home versus a $150,000 home, so I won't necessarily put a price tag on it, but I'm going to do a small drop regularly because that gets me to the top of the price reduced list, right? The price decreased list kind of pops it back up, and there's some benefit there. And then you've got other people that say, no, we're going to stick, with the strategy for a while, 30, 60, 90 days, and then we'll do more of a sizable price drop to make a correction.
Yep.
That really is up to your agent. And I can't tell you that there's one strategy that's any better than the other. It depends a lot on the market. Right. Is it more of a buyer's market, more of a seller's market? Are we working with a balanced market? What is the competition? How many homes that are similar to yours have sold since your home went on the market, right? I mean, and that's something that your agent can look up a lot easier. You could probably track it down on Zillow as well, Realtor.com. You could do a little bit of that research, but it's a little bit tougher to find. MLS is very easy to go in and search for those types of things. And so just understanding that, if it's being marketed, if people are seeing it, then, and the advice I was told, and this is a bit arbitrary, but like 2 showings a week, okay? That's in a balanced market. Now, we've been in a seller's market for years, which means if it's competitively priced, you're gonna have 5, 6, 7, 8 showings a week easily.
Right. Yep.
So at that point, you maybe need 3 or 4 showings a week. Otherwise, you may be into problems. So it's just always good to know, okay, I'm not getting what the market I should be expecting in this market.
Yeah.
It's a lot slower. All right, so we need to start thinking, do we have a technical issue? Can I go search for my home on the major sites and find them?
That's right.
Is it on Zillow? Is it on Trulia? Is it on Redfin? Certainly if it's listed by Realtor, is it on Realtor.com? Am I pulling it in all these different places, or do I have some technical error that maybe is keeping it from showing up on some of those websites? Right. But if that's not the problem, then the price is the problem. The market is saying the price is the problem.
And one thing I would say too, at this point, let's say you're 2 weeks in, you've done your normal, like if I'm talking for sale by owner, if you have already put it on Zillow and you're just not getting a lot of traffic in general, it could be exposure. It very easily could be that people aren't seeing it. And so one thing you can do before you hit the price drop is you could contact one of these MLS like advertisers for you. Like they charge, and I don't even know what the pricing is. It could
Just
be
a flat fee to put it in MLS.
Yeah, it could be $500 or $250 or something, whatever it is. But you pay them, they put it in the MLS, and then it does shotgun it out to all those sites. It also gives you the option to be able to put, what you're going to pay commissions wise, because I think that's another piece if you're for sale by owner that could be a problem, is that maybe you're offering 2% or 1.5% or 1% or something.
Or you didn't tell what you were offering.
Or you didn't tell what you're offering, and so those things can, of course, play some of the protocols there.
Right. So a buyer's agent doesn't know how much money they're going to be making from bringing their buyer to your house, and therefore they assume, because you didn't put on there, that you're not going to be paying them what other homes would be paying them. And low integrity agents, they will totally steer their buyers away from a house if they're not making as much money off of it.
Oh, it totally is the case. I mean, it's sad as it is, it's probably more the case than it's not the case.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's a part of market. So I would say that's probably a big piece of it. Make sure your marketing is good. Make sure that you've got it in every place that it can. Make sure that you're findable. We were talking about that. Like your number is there, it's available, and so forth. Just trying to hit anything and everything that could be problematic before you kind of take that one drop. And the other side of that is in some price drop opportunities, we try to verbalize it in a manner that sounds positive. We'll say, price, instead of saying price drop, we may say price improvement or things like that. It has a positive spin to it. So you may be able to verbalize it in a way that it sounds better.
And sometimes it's actually, depending, let's say you have a great house, but the carpet has been trashed by an animal. That may be something that's holding people back. Okay, so they've come into the house, but they don't like the fact that it smells bad or it looks bad. So sometimes there's a price drop, but there's also just a seller incentive.
That's right.
Hey, we're not going to drop the price by $5,000. We're going to give a $5,000 carpet allowance, so that somebody could come in. And it's in many cases pretty much 6 of one, half dozen of the other, right? But it still gives you an incentive to, that's going to look better in some people's eyes, especially if there's an obvious problem with the home. So
well, and what you can do, and we've done this, we did this one, a listing in Durham, was we did $1,000 price drop, and then we said, hey, we're going to give you $5,000 in incentive
to get it back up on the top of the list.
That's right.
But then also it had that included in there. Put it at the very beginning of your description, right? If you're trying to communicate something new, those are the very first words in your description before, hey, come look at this stunning home, blah, 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 blah. Hey, $5,000 carpet credit, something along those lines. So, you certainly can work with a combination of both because it allows somebody to, yes, they have an incentive now to come, whereas maybe they didn't. I have multiple homes right now that I have a buyer that's looking at these homes, and we have said, hey, at this price point, it's not even worth us looking at it because listed at $550, they're probably, it just hit the market, they're probably not going to take less than $540 or $530 or whatever it is, depending on the neighborhood and the appeal of the house and all of that. And so we're not even going to go see it until the price moves at least a little bit closer, or it sits on the market for a few weeks to where we feel like that seller maybe has softened up a little bit to receive a more realistic offer. So understand, you may have people that are watching your house, but because of the way you priced it a little too high. It's always good to kind of push that upper limit, but when you cross that line, all of a sudden you're going to have people say, there's no point. Yeah, I mean, it's $40,000 overpriced until they either drop the price or it sits on the market for a while. There's no point because I'm going to have to offer basically what's going to be seen as a lowball offer, and there's no point in submitting a lowball offer 24, 48 hours after it went on the market.
That's right.
So just understand that the way that you've priced it initially is going to give somebody an initial impression. They may really like your house, but they're not going to come see it until one of a couple of different factors happen.
That's right. Well, and I think you had made mention of this earlier. We were talking about you could do open houses, but you could also do broker open house.
Yes.
Which could be an opportunity, especially for sale by owner, but even as an agent, we've done this where, just so we can get actual information from agents on their opinion of like what they think the house is worth. So we'll invite them in. A lot of times we'll have a lender or somebody who would like to be able to, maybe cater it or bring some food in or something like snacks, whatever. And so they'll come in, all the agents will come through and they'll look at the house, they'll look it over. We'll give them like a, kind of like a survey. Like, what do you think about all of these things? They'll fill it out, they'll give it to us. It's a great connection point for them, but they also get to see it, walk it, and then they can communicate to buyers and so forth.
Well, and if you do that, then let's say you get let's say you run a conventional open house. You get 10 people come in, which that's considered really good numbers for an open house. Those are 10 people who may or may not qualify to buy a house. However, if you get 10 agents in, and each one of those agents is representing 2 or 3 or 4 buyers that house might fit what they're looking for, and they've already vetted them to make sure they can actually afford it, now you've gotten 4 times as much exposure as you would have with a conventional open house. So it's a little more difficult. It's a little more pieces of the puzzle to put in place. But if a home is not selling, a lot of times that's a good strategy for us to do a kickstart and at least get some good, honest feedback.
That's right.
Because I'll tell you, in the realtor community, if you feed them, they will come.
That's right.
And they love to give their opinion. And
that's the total truth.
But it also is good for you as the seller, right? Because let's say you're working with an agent, or you're doing a FSBO, and you bring 10 agents into your home, and all 10 of them say the home is overpriced. Okay, well, that's a pretty good indicator. Maybe it's right. Whereas if you have one random person, that's going to tell you something, a lot of times it's either not accurate or has some sort of motive behind it. So,
that's right.
Yep.
Cool.
So anyway, just wanted to give you some ins and outs of that. Certainly leave any kind of questions that you might have in the comment section below. And just subscribe, like, and you have any other kind of last minute offhand topics? Are we good to go?
No, like you said, I think leave us some comments. Let us know what you're thinking. It's super helpful for us on extra videos that we're going to make if we know some of those questions. So,
yeah. Sounds good. Well, we'll see you in the next video. Have a great rest of your week.
See you guys.